Before I start, I wanted to share this with you. This is my understanding. I don't know shit. All I'm doing here is sharing my journey. And the things that I say are the things that I feel. This is just my journey. If this journey makes sense to you and you understand what I'm saying, then stick around. But if it's offensive, don't stick around. And it is important for me to share the things that I feel and the things that have happened to me in my life. I want to say obviously to this, but it seems like it's not that obvious. The things that I say are just my opinion. And if I say things in a hyperbolic manner, then you can just take it as that. A lot of things that happened to me in my past make me extremely angry. It makes me furious. And I'm just sharing those feelings and the reasons why I think this is happening. So this is my story. This is my journey. If you're a Christian and you don't want to hear offensive things said, then leave. But if you want to stick around, stick around. I really do appreciate everyone. G'day everyone, I'm Ben and this is Counterfeit Christianity. It's early in the morning again. I'm just sitting here, got my coffee. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really thankful for everybody following along my journey with me. And I was just sharing with my wife yesterday how honored I am that there's some people listening to what I have to say about my journey, about my life and about the things that I think. I'm really thankful for this. And I don't go a day without being amazed that somebody wants to hear what I have to say. I've grown up in the exact opposite of that, where everyone looks at me as scum, and I've talked to a few of you why that is, but being inside of this system, it doesn't help, because if you don't fit into the box, then you are scum. And that's just the way I've grown up. Everyone around me, all my teachers and all that sort of stuff, really hated me, struggled just having a safe place within my family. Not that my parents didn't stick up for me, they were really good like that, but all the stuff I've talked about in the past and what that feels like. So I think it's ironic that people care about my journey and want to pay attention. So I'm really thankful, and I don't go a day without thinking about that. And that sort of proves to me that this is not about me. It's not about what I have thought I wanted to do. I felt like our creator, asked me to do this, and it's been a long journey for me to get to the point where I can share my opinions and thoughts inside of, even in a place that's fairly safe like this. And it's spread out into every part of my life. I can share this to anybody. If they want to talk about it, I will talk about it. And it was funny because yesterday I had a conversation with some people who wanted to talk about it. And we talked in depth about the stuff that I believe. I normally don't go around just sharing what I believe with people. If it comes up, I really do. And that's good, because if it comes up, that means I'm being led into it by my daddy. That's what has happened with this channel. I've been led into this. I have been, over years, I have been slowly but surely walking along the path to getting to a point where I can do this. And I'm really glad that people are paying attention. So making a long story long, right? As I like to do. I do appreciate you guys, but thank you so much. I want to talk about this thing. It's come up a little bit in the comments, and I guess in real life, I've heard people talk about this topic a bit, but it's like the topic of God's name. And I'm interested in that. I did learn about what I think his name is, but it's just from people who are book worshippers, I suppose, but they're sort of on the way. But they told me that his name was Yeh, and that felt good. It's like a breath, and it's like a breath breathing life. Yeah, I feel like that's good. That's good, and I think that that's probably right. I had a few conversations with people in the comments where they're extremely patronizing. I find that quite a lot in people. You'll see it if you have a poke through the comments. People who agree with what I'm saying, they're like, "Oh, good job, son. You're almost there." Yeah. If you just learn a little bit more, then you'll know what's actually going on. You're good on you. And then they'll say, if you just do this, then you'll get the answers. There's a few different religions that they say to join, a few different sects of Christianity that they say to join. Do more reading and then you'll eventually have enough knowledge. That's basically the answer to everything. And I find that really interesting. It's always got this higher than thou sort of air about how they speak, because they're like, I know the answer. Listen to me and I'll show you the answer. That's what it comes back to. And I've had that around God's name. And they're like, oh, you almost got it. The creator, the living God, this is his name. If you just knew this. I'm like, I've actually been along this journey before. And I've come to the understanding that God doesn't give a fuck what you call him. That's why he told me to call him daddy. And I think that everybody else's journey is probably different. But for me, I didn't feel secure in my family relationship. It came from, I've talked about this with my mum, so I can share it, I suppose. But this place of a woman woman as the head of this. My dad was passive. He didn't stand up and do anything on his own. He didn't ever have my back. And my mum tried to fill that role. And when that happens, a woman can't fill that role. It's just death. But basically, a woman's natural place is to fear. And then if you lead the household in fear, then that family is destroyed. Absolutely. And that's basically what happened to our family. It came into our family with this fear of hell, this fear of a loving God putting you in hell. And it wasn't her idea. I've talked about this before, but it's come through this idea of Christianity and how Christians see God, and she received that from them. I told a story before where she was with God, but then she became a Christian and went to church, and then it took her down this journey of fear, and we were cursed by that. And I'm not saying that if a fearful man leads the household, it's still going to be okay. It's not at all. It's going to be the same sort of problems, but in a different sort of angle, a different skew, or a different way. But it's interesting. I've noticed that all these good women around me, they're good. There's nothing bad about these women, but they just have a natural fear to them. I'm just noticing myself, like I can't speak for everybody, right? But I'm noticing in general, I'm speaking in general terms here, that men don't have that fear. Maybe it's just bravado and they're showing that they have no fear, but I can only speak for myself and my own journey. But right now, I don't have any fear at all. Like I have absolutely no fear. And it's not because I'm big and tough and I can do whatever I want. I used to think that way. Well, I'll fucking do the best I can and I'm going to be really strong. That's why I started going to the gym and powerlifting and all this sort of stuff and getting my strength up. I used to be really strong. I saw a few Christian cucks say, oh, you got to just go to the gym and then you'll be fine. I'm like, man, I go to the gym. I used to have a 250 kilo deadlift. I used to bench 140 kilos. I used to be really strong. I just don't want to do that anymore. And then from that, I have a lot of probably from lifting badly, but then I've injured my back along the way and blown discs along the way, and yeah, it's not good. I'm not interested in that anymore. I still work out, but I don't do it to protect myself because I'm secure in who my dad is. I do it to try and be as healthy as possible now, in conjunction with lots of other things. But that has been my journey. I understand that idea of bravado, of a man like just putting on a face to protect himself and his family, and sometimes that works and sometimes it's needed. But in the journey of life in general, you can't have fear, and bravado is not going to protect you from that. And I think that it's really interesting because the living God, our creator, our daddy, he asked me specifically to call him daddy. I get comments about that every now and then. I really do enjoy it because they're lighthearted and they're fun for me because they're just like, oh, I love you. I love what you're saying. But then when you say daddy, it makes me feel weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I understand that feeling. It happened to me as well. When he asked me to call him daddy, I'm like, I can't do that. Like, God asked me, he said, call me daddy. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. Because I didn't even call my dad that. Because I didn't have that place in my heart for a relationship with a loving dad. Now I know what it's like to have a dad that does everything for you, because he slowly but surely showed me what it's like to be a dad. To be a loving, caring dad that has no fear. And so I can be that without fear now and lead my family. And I'm not saying a woman can't take that journey, but I feel like it might be a little bit more difficult for them, inherently more difficult, because this world is a scary place for a woman. And the way that I believe that we've been designed is for a man and a woman to come together and work with each other and free each other from the chains of this world, and just doing it together, living life together in a really good way. And I've found that in my own marriage with my wife and the relationship that I have with her and my children. It feels good. It feels right to me now. And I'm not saying that this is the way. I'm saying this is the way for us. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ways that this works in life, in different people's situations, because we all come from different places and we are all blessed and cursed in different ways. But this is the way that I see the world. That's why this is my understanding. This is not the channel about finding answers. This is about me just explaining life the way that I see it. So the living God, he asked me to call him daddy. And for me, there's no better relationship. I know that our broken world, like I've explained my own relationship with my dad, it's fucked. And everybody has this same problem in their life. It feels weird to call the living God daddy, because we don't know what that feels like to have a safe, secure relationship with our dad, because it was always fucked up. We might have had a passive dad. We might have had an angry dad. My dad was really passive, but he was also very angry and violent to me. He used to flog the shit out of me when I was a kid. And I used to run away down the street, climb up trees so he couldn't get me, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying that to, I don't know, throw shade on him or make him like talk bad about him. But I'm just saying it because it happened. And that's the sort of thing that we have to deal with in this life. And we can come back from that. And like, I can think about him now with love, and I miss him massively, and I wish I understood him now. When he was alive, I wish I understood him so I could have talked to him in this place and from this understanding, if you know what I mean. But it didn't happen, and that's fine. The thing that I know absolutely is that he doesn't care what you call him. He doesn't get offended about anything. That's why I know that Christians don't understand what it's like to be with him when they speak like that, because I know that they've never experienced what it's like to be absolutely loved and absolutely secure with their daddy. And that's what, when they're talking about burning in hell, it means nothing to me. It's like a little gnat just like telling you to fuck off in your ear all the time. It's like, fuck off. Like, you're frustrating. You don't understand, and you're putting yourself in hell for that. As I've come along this journey, I've learned all these things that I feel like God is telling me to say, but slowly but surely I realize them absolutely when I see them in other people's lives. I don't want that life of fear and death. I don't want that life of fearing God, because that's a fucking lie. He wants an authentic, real relationship with you so he can make you feel loved and be with you in that way that this world has stripped away from all of us and our families. Even if we think we have a good family, we never had what we deserved. His love. We deserve that, absolutely. We don't have to look for it and fight for it and be good to get it. That's another massive fucking Christian lie. We just deserve it because that's who we are. He designed us to be that way. And in this world and our beliefs and all these thoughts and stuff that we have about ourselves that have been given to us by other gods and other places and curses put upon us, that's just the reason why we see things like we do in this world. But he doesn't want it to be that way. He wants to be our daddy. And I think that's probably what he wants all of us to call him. He doesn't want us to call him by his name. Like, it feels so good when my daughter or my son calls me dad, or when they were younger, daddy. I can hear it in my head, and they just come up and say, daddy. It feels so amazing. And we don't need to grow out of that relationship with God. We don't grow up and then become scholars and then become teachers. It's like, no, we always have that father-son relationship with him, or father-daughter relationship with him. That's what he designed us for. And I don't want my kids to grow out of that. And I know that his heart for me and for us is much, much more than that. He has that daddy's heart. And I don't like the word father, but other people might prefer that, because father for them might feel loving and warm. But for me, father is like a cold, callous way to speak about your dad. I don't care what his name is. And I think if you care what his name is, you're going down the wrong path, because you don't call your dad by his name. And that's how I've been able to receive freedom in my life. I don't give a fuck what his name is. And you can call him by whatever you want, because it's about the relationship that you have with him. That's why I say you don't have to be a Christian to be with God. I think that being a Christian actually separates you from God, because of all these lies and indoctrinations and things that draw you into hell that will separate you. All these things that you think you must know or do or whatever it is, because that's what Christianity is. It's a huge, despicable, evil Christian lie. And it separates you from an authentic relationship with your daddy, with our daddy, with the living God. I wanted to explain myself in a way that hopefully people understand, because this is my journey. This is where I am at with him. And I'm glad, because I can deal with so much more in my life now, and I can give authentic, real love to the people around me that deserve that, and sort of show them what a relationship with a good dad is actually like in the best way possible. And not because I'm striving, because it's flowing out of me. And I am the most joyful I have ever been in my life. And I really do believe that joy fixes everything. I know that it's hard to hear that, because we don't know what joy is, but joy fixes everything. Authentic joy that just flows out of you. I think it's all healing, and it's all good, and nothing bad will happen when you are joyful. That is what we are designed to be like together. Absolutely glad to be with each other no matter what. And that's very, very hard. But when you're with him, slowly but surely, it will become who you are. And I'm noticing that about myself now. That is who I am becoming. And it's so good to be around people with this joy. You can just be, without chains on you, and without fake Christian love on you, because fake Christian love always has expectations. People who are in the cult won't see it, but when you're outside of it, you see it so clearly. Like always, this is my understanding. I don't know shit. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being along this journey with me. Like always, like, share, subscribe, pass it on to people who you think might like it, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, I really do appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.